Ty, what strikes you as different about the Bucks that you'll play this year as opposed to last year's group?
What's different about the team?
Yeah, besides the honest part, obviously.
Okay, yeah. No, that's a good question. I think they have, had a full year with Coach Rivers and the staff. Last year's mid-season change. I mean, it's hard to obviously leave out what Giannis brings to the table and what he does for their group. And I feel like their bench is probably deeper than they were last year. So that's definitely what causes to be a little different than last year.
You guys handled them in the regular season last year, but had some struggles this year. Does that change how you feel about this going into the series, or is it pretty similar to the tenor?
No. I mean, you use those to watch film, and obviously the regular season holds weight for sure. But it doesn't change how we approach it. It's still a playoff series. Doesn't matter who we play, and understand that we're always going to get their best shot. They're always going to get our best shot. It's plain and simple. We don't like each other, so that's just part of it.
You've talked throughout this year about the various things you learned in the playoffs, the things maybe you didn't realize were as important as they are. But what's it like, or how are you applying those right now, or how do you put that in?
Yeah, I think we've talked as players. I think the biggest difference between last year and this year is playing, game one at home. And I think last year in game one, we got stomped. I felt like we kind of eased into game one and then kind of woke up in game two and responded. We don't have that luxury at home. You got to take care of home court. Because at the end of the day, if nobody wins the road game, you win the series. So I think it's most important is taking care of game one, being ready to go from the jump, because we know that they're going to give us their best shot. And I think just value and possession and all those things, and how important it is to get stops, which I think we've had to do. With our horrible start to the year, we had to figure out how to win games in different ways. We've had to win games in the most ridiculous types of ways, at the end of the year. So, I feel like that's been good for us as a group, and I want to take that into the playoffs.
I've already seen quotes from Don about limiting your transition. The teams are so focused on not letting you down. How do you still get those opportunities?
Do what we do. I think that we're just more focused on what we do. We understand we are. If we get stops, then we're going to play in transition. So that's the biggest thing for us. We got to be able to get stops and not overreact to tough shots or them scoring. We just got to turn around and go right back at them. So understanding that there's value to both sides of the ball, but at the end of the day, we just got to be who we are.
System are a lot different than they had been. Is he doing anything different, and what would you attribute that to?
That's just how Giannis plays. They were number one in the league in three-point percentage this year as a group. They got a lot of different guys who can space out, make shots. And then, with Dame out, Giannis had had more responsibility with the ball in his hands. So, I don't think that's surprising by any means. He's a great player.
How much momentum does this team have going into the playoffs with the last 2 months y'all have?
Yeah, we feel good. We're really excited about being able to, start the playoffs here at home. We've had a great year at home. We've had a great year in our city jersey. So we definitely are excited to, start the series here. We feel good. So everybody here is excited. I'm sure the city's excited about this series. The city's buzzing about, the potential of what we could accomplish in this playoffs. But it starts here at the end.
A lot of the personnel is the same as last year's playoff run. So how is this year's team different and more experienced than this?
Yeah, I think last year we were just satisfied with being in the playoffs. Everything from there was kind of playing with house money, to be honest with you. And this year I think we have real expectations to do something special as a group. When I say something special, I mean championship. So that could be the expectation that we've had since the start of the year. That doesn't change, but understand that it's one game, one day at a time. So it's not even as much about thinking about, how Saturday's going to go. It's more about, controlling what we can in these practices, preparation, all those things. So that's definitely a difference.
Does first day of practice feel different than the first day of playoff practice last year because what's been here before?
Yeah, I'd be lying to you if I told you I remembered the first day of practice last year for playoffs, but I think that we came in today, knowing what to expect, knowing what, kind of the setup of the day would look like, having all these days, with the play and to, prepare for game one. So I don't really remember what that was like last year, but it's definitely different, because over the course of the season, over the last month, we probably had like 2 practices, so and those weren't we weren't taping and going hard, so it's a little different. But honestly, we benefited from having practice days this year. I think a big time where we shifted things was around that in-season tournament final time where we got to have real practices. So I think that's really a benefit of these days that we're getting right now. We're just everybody's trying to take advantage of it, get the right amount of rest, but everybody being here early, get their shots, get their lift, all those things, so we're sharp, ready to go on Saturday.
I think the improvements you guys have made defensively make you better. The improvements you guys have made defensively, how does that make you guys better, more equipped for a playoff run? How well do you think that pressure style you guys have kind of incorporated?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but since January, we've been the lead defensive team, and I think we understood coming in this year that we would have to be better there if we really wanted to accomplish our goals. So I think we've done a good job of locking into that end of the floor. The buy-in from top to bottom has been great. I think more so than anything, the accountability has been great from us as players, obviously what the coaches are doing, but from us as players, and I'm talking like 1 through 18, like our two-way guys, Quinn Jackson, Ray J. Dennis, Enrique Freeman, done a great job of using their voice, and obviously they don't get to suit up for the playoffs, but they've been holding guys accountable all year, having those conversations. I think that's a really big deal when the top guy on the team can listen to number 16, 17, 18, see what they're seeing. That's really important. I think that's a big part of our shift defensively. You understand we still got room to grow there. We can be better, especially against this group where Giannis has really played really well against us over the last 10, 12 matchups, whatever the case may be. But I think as a group, we got to, we've done a good job of improving there. That's definitely a benefit going into the playoffs.
How much momentum does this team have coming into the playoffs this year?
We're excited. I think that's where we'll start. We're just excited for the work since training camp to get to this point. I really think we're working since we got bounced last year. It's been our mind, get back to this time of the year. So we're healthy. We're good to go. We're excited. Everything in between.
How does that experience last year help coming into this year's playoffs?
Helps immensely. We had a lot of guys that had never had any playoff experience, and guys like myself who never out the first round. So just knowing what it feels like, knowing the mental reps, physically what it feels like, help us going forward.
Dame isn't playing the start of the playoffs, at least that's what they say for now. How does that affect you guys going into this series?
Well, my sense is a change. This is before they had Dame, they were a championship team. They're championship guys who played at that level. So our approach can't change whatsoever. It has to be about us at the end of the day, and our preparation is going to be the same as well.
We're going to talk about how there is a different mindset that you have to have when you're starting a playoff at home. What do you try to get across there as far as the messaging in terms of how you guys have to view it different when you're starting here as opposed to out there?
I think last year, we were the Cinderella story. We were the hunters, and everybody, didn't really see us coming. But people know how we play, people know our style of play, and know what we had to offer now. So setting the tone is going to be crucial. I think that obviously it's amazing to set it as a tone now, but you always be the guys who go out there and for that first initial punch. So again, it's all exciting stuff, and we're fun. Look forward to it.
Finished the season 14th in defensive rating. I'm asked you a couple times, but just what does that mean to you and this group, that where you were last season and the improvements you made this season?
It's a nod to our work ethic. I think we've obviously improved, but there's still a lot of improvements to make. I think we want to be a top 10 defensive team, and we're going to take from there. So the playoffs are the whole season, so everything resets itself. Habits are principles that can't change.
In what ways can all the defensive experience you have guarding and trying to stop Giannis, how can you draw on that when you prepare for another series?
Well, it helps that we play them 4 times a year in our division, so that has some familiarity there. But again, he presents his own challenges. He's someone that's down to the second half of the season. He's passing the ball a lot more. He's picking and choosing spots to be aggressive. So again, he presents his own challenges.
Myles, how are your personal emotions different this week than this time last week heading into the postseason?
What you said, like last year? Or compared? I think last year, again, it's a group who didn't really know what to expect. We were just going to go out there, lay it out, just play as hard as you can. But we have realistic expectations for ourselves this season. So, our approach doesn't necessarily change, but our mindset has changed opening the game at home, as opposed to going out there and having to try to steal some of the road last year. So, the only change, I guess, is our mentality, being a home court team now.
Does that all feel different here for the first practice setting, having that experience, that mentality, or does it feel roughly the same on the floor?
I feel great out here. I think it's there's a certain intensity level that we bring to each one of our practices, and that was present today. So it felt good just getting back to work.
Tyrese has talked a lot through the season about just lessons learned in the playoffs and things you can't know until you get there. What are some of the things that you guys are applying from last year that you look at in terms of, he talked about the importance of starting and ending quarters well, and the importance of rebounding and stuff like that. What are some things that you guys are looking back on in terms of the lessons learned?
Possession of the ball. Possession matters in the playoffs. I think 100% of the possessions in the game, I think just a wasteland. technique. You got to get quality shots. You know, when you do get your stops and rebounds, you got to push. You got to make it a ball possession. So that, you got to leave the refs alone. The refs the playoffs is a lot more physical than it is in the regular season. So I think our guys are aware of that. And honestly, you got to be able to bounce back quickly. You know, things are going to go wrong. Things are going to go good. As a man, you got to have an next play mentality and ready to move on quickly.
You guys did a lot of full court pressure in last year's playoffs. Obviously, that's been kind of one of the most important parts of your identity this year. Having that established going in, how helpful can that be that you guys know what you want to do in terms of picking up 94 feet?
We have the personnel to do it. I think teams are more aware of it now. Teams are going to try to do more things, try to break that up. But at the same time, we have we're scheming for everything. And our coach Steph's doing an amazing job of just to get us ready for each and every scenario. He's going to play for every possible scenario that there can be. So we're in a good place.
How are they different than they were? You know, it's just different personnel.
Yeah.
You know, how do you see them functioning differently? Basically, how are they a different challenge?
I say improve perimeter shooting. That's one thing. You know, the guys that compete. You know, guys. They got a little straight block that really been helping them. Then obviously, having Giannis back is huge in the playoffs as opposed to not having him, last year. So again, it's the same team, but it's a different team. So again, it's gonna be about us and our habits. Our approach and presence can't change.